Evening all. Louise here. Right. Welcome to another episode of Straighten Your Crown Tarot. I haven't watched any news, but I have picked up on something that's quite concerning. But the first thing that came to into my head, wasn't the alarm that maybe you would expect. This reading is about the, what's it called? Pre-sentencing report to do with the new crime bill, new criminal justice thing. I don't know what it's called, by the Justice Secretary, Shabana Mahmood. Right, from the 1st of April, it's going to be necessary for certain groups of people to have a pre-sentencing report given to the judge before the judge then considers sentencing. Bearing in mind that most people that have a pre-sentencing report done don't go to jail. The list of people that will be expected to have a pre-sentencing report are women, pregnant women, carers, children between the young people between the ages of 18 and 25, something else, and anybody who is from an ethnic minority, from a religious minority, or a minority community, or a trans person. So basically, what they're saying is, if you're an ethnic minority, culturally a minority, you're trans, you will have a pre-sentencing report, which means that they are going to be less likely to get a prison sentence for offences committed. When Keir Starmer said there is no two-tier justice system, his Justice Secretary has just provided proof of that there is. My other thought is this: if there was ever a way to raise the levels of racism and anti-Muslim hate, anti-ethnic minority, anti-trans hate, it's this: putting one person elevated from other groups. And actually, when you look at it, women are also on that group. So if you look at it, the people who are going to be hardest hit by this particular clause that comes into effect on the 1st of April will be white British men. So if there were ever a time where, basically what I'm saying is this is going to fuel hatred. This is going to fuel any bit of racism that is in the country. It's going to get bigger. And, all this Islamophobia and all that kind of thing, the government's creating that. The government's starting to create that by making people realise that in law, they are lesser than others. And in law, some people get a break and other people don't. Particular groups, and they are identified groups. This is going to create a lot of hatred. We will see a rise in racism. We are going to see a rise in sectarianism, like we had in Northern Ireland between the Catholics and the Protestants. There's going to be that kind of battle go on if they don't rein it in soon. So I guess what I'm saying is, every single day, bang, there's another nail going into the coffin of the UK as we knew it, know it, remember it. Every day there's something else. We have to stand strong. We have to try not to let it sway our way of thinking. Trying very, very hard not to project our anger onto the people who are being favoured, because they're being favoured for a reason, and that's to cause division. And if you can divide people, if you can separate people into pockets and groups, then you can conquer, you can control, and you can conquer. There's a plan attached to this. There's a big plan attached to this. So I just want to read on it. I mean, clearly Shabana Mahmood is, on the one hand, introducing a two-tier in writing, right? The two-tier justice system that we've talked about for many, many moons now. Now she's put it in writing. So even though it was never written down, now we've got it in black and white. But they're still denying that this is a two-tier justice system. I'm sure they'll have some like harebrained reason why they've done it. My guess is it'll be something like, oh well, this particular minority group, they are more likely to be sentenced for this particular crime or whatever. But we don't know, do we? Because we don't get the statistics. And I forgot to say, we're looking at an enchanted map oracle by Colette Baron Reid, and we've got Stormfields. This is what's being whipped up at the moment. It's all being whipped up in a frenzy. You've still got the media talking bullshit about Trump and Vance, and now they're the warmongers. It's like, this is 1984, George Orwell's. All of a sudden, we're not supposed to believe our eyes or believe anything we hear. We've just got to take as read that the nonsense is sense, and sense is nonsense. It's we're living in an upside down world, and what we need to do is just hold the line. And you know what's right. You know what is right. You know what's happening. You can see it with your own eyes. You can hear it with your own ears. Don't distrust what you see and hear. Stormfields, number 9. You're not kidding, Stormfields. Flipping heck. Just as you think they've run out of inventive ideas to do something else, these people are depraved. If they can come up with these horrific ideas day in, day out, something that I would never, it wouldn't even cross my mind to be that despicable, I think is the word. Number 9. An uncomfortable chaos is surrounding you. Oh, fucking no shit, Sherlock. Things that you've left unattended may be the cause of some conflict. Pent-up energy needs release, just as a storm in nature must break. These events occur when the electricity between opposing forces stirs things up and creates temporary disorder. I'm feeling a bit of disorder coming. I am really feeling a bit of disorder coming. Not all storms are destructive. Rather, they save nature by bringing rain to the ground and wind to the trees, enabling seeds to be widely distributed and continuous growth to be ensured. Just remember that whatever is being stirred up inside you or between you and others will benefit you later. The sun will shine again and new growth will be observed. Don't be afraid to shake things up a little. So, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. Don't let what somebody on the news says sway you. We have all got our favourite people. Don't hero worship any of them. They are all going to disappoint us in one way or another, because they're all very good at talking up support. But when it comes to the crunch, they all follow the same leader. They've all got the same puppet master. They're all bought and paid for, all of them. And I know many, many people aren't going to want to hear that, but they are all bought and paid for. And if they don't start out being bought, they end up being bought. Just know it, and then let it go, and then enjoy your life the way you want it. So let's have a look. This crime and sentencing bill, that's it, isn't it? Comes into effect on the the 1st of April this year. So if you're white and male, forget it. They're not going to ask for a pre-sentencing report on you. If you're female, forget it. if not female. If you're white and male, forget it, basically. If you're female, transgender, ethnic minority, pregnant or caring for somebody, they'll have a pre-sentencing report. Pity they didn't do that for the lady that was caring for her husband that got 2 years for, I don't know what she said, some hurty words to a police officer. That should have been, maybe she's going to get out on that. Maybe she's going to get some compensation. Right, let's have a look. Crime and sentencing bill, where are we with that? Oh, it's a choice. It's a choice, it's a partnership. So this crime and sentencing bill has got something to do with a partnership, an agreement. Yeah. And for some reason, the angel in this card, I'm not seeing it as an angel, I'm seeing as an overseer. It's they're having the strings pulled, they're doing as they're told. I mean, why else do you think Larry Fink's been in Downing Street and Bill Gates? Why else? And then we've got the Five of Wands. This is a huge challenge coming up. I am feeling there's going to be some conflict. I feel like there's going to be pockets of conflict, like mini civil wars going off all over the place. This is what it feels like. So this agreement, because of this agreement, and because the people who are supposed to lead us are having the strings pulled, it's making us fight amongst ourselves, because we've been put into categories. And we've been put into categories that we can identify visually, visual categories. And then certain ones of those categories are getting preferential treatment. And then rather than the rest of us see it that it's a ruse to divide and rule, we then start to look at the categories that are getting the preferential treatment, and we look unfavourably upon those particular categories. And before you know it, you've got a massive bun fight going off between two categories turning against each other, which is what they want. Because what they can then say is, oh, poor category A who got all the preferential treatment, because category B are far-right imbeciles and thugs. So let's empty all the prisons of all the category A people, because we feel sorry for them, and let's bang up all the category B people. But what they don't realise is the category A people will turn on these people eventually. They will bite the hand that feeds them. They are going to bite the hand that feeds them. It will happen. And then all this posturing and all that's been happening will have been for nothing, because they're never going to see office again. And then we've got justice in reverse. So basically what it's saying is this particular situation has come about because it's not fair. When justice shows up in the upright, this is the Libra card. When justice shows in the upright, this means that whatever the outcome of a particular situation, the outcome will be fair. What it's saying here is right now, what's going on is unfair. Well, I mean, we can all say that. We can all see that from the clause in this particular crime and sentencing bill. It's unfair. So what are they going to do about it? The thing is, there aren't enough Tory MPs and Lib Dem MPs and Greens and Reform MPs to oppose this bill going through. And this is the issue that we've got. Labour have got over 400 MPs. Anything they want to put in will go through. Any bill they want to introduce is going to get put through, because even if everybody on the opposite benches had took an opposite view and voted against, it's still not enough to stop the bills going through. And actually, we've got an issue with the Lib Dems because they always vote with Labour, because they made a few deals with Labour during the general election. But then we've got, it might not be fair, but then what we've got is the magician. Got an unfair situation. And this calls for someone to manifest a different situation. And manifesting is something that we do individually. And one person, if they're really, really good at manifesting, can manifest anything they want. I know how to do it. Being able to do it is a different story, because we live in a world where we're bombarded. Our reality is experienced through our senses. So we have to get past those senses in order to manifest. And it's basically an incredible use of the imagination, which is something we all had as children, but then we have it indoctrinated out of us in school and at home, and the sort of daydreaming and all that kind of thing. We need to bring back the daydreaming. Collectively, we can manifest a different scenario. And I'm mindful of lots of experiments that people have done with meditators. And they've gone out into war zones, like 1,000 meditators, people who are good at meditating, you know, not just people who've never sat. 1,000 meditators have gone to like war zones and meditated. And for 2 days, there's been not a shot fired, no shops being looted, no crime whatsoever, because they meditated for peace. And a huge amount of people all meditating. Well, not huge actually, when you think about it. 1,000 people isn't a huge amount. But if 1,000 people can make that much difference, 2 days worth of peace in one particular area in the Middle East, then what can 60 million people do if they were all manifesting? So it's an unfair situation, but we can manifest our way out of it. I'm probably lost quite a few of you by now. I think I lost quite a few subscribers overnight because it wasn't my usual MO with the tarot. But if you look at my tarot readings from 2-3 years ago when I first started, they weren't. I weren't calling out. I weren't calling out this stuff. I was doing other things. So with the Lovers and the Five of Swords, we've got the Four of Cups. So we've got this, a decision, this partnership, a puppet master, creating a challenge, chaos, and it's leading to huge amounts of disappointment. Huge amounts of disappointment. This person is crying, like disappointed over the Three Cups, but there is a cup here being handed to them from the divine that they're choosing not to see. And I think this stems back to yesterday's video when I was saying, no matter what's going on around you, find the joy, fill your own cup, you know, find some happiness in doing something other than watching the TV, because it's not helping any of us. And you see, the thing is, what you think about, you bring about. So if you've got 60 million people in one country all frightened to death and worried or angry about the type of bullshit that's going down in the country, we've got 68 million people all thinking the same thing. The universe is going to give us more. Going to give us more of the same. Because what you think about is what you bring about. So if you think about all the fantastic things, anything that you can think of, and hold that thought for 60 seconds, the universe changes its mind and thinks, do you know what? This person's asking for something, you know, something better. In your mind, it's something better. The universe doesn't know any difference between good or bad. It's all the same. They're just events. So we have to create the kind of events that we want. And then we've got, with the Five of Wands and the Justice cards, we've got the Ten of Wands. So we're going to be all right. We're going to be, you know, we're going to have to defend ourselves. You know, I'm not saying it's all come by your and sit in your kitchen or in your bedroom and daydream your life away. That's not what I'm saying. There are times when we have to take action, and I think we're going to have to take some action. But we're also going to have our mind on what's really going on. What we're being told is it's just noise. It's just drama. It's just there to distract you from what's really going on. So what's really going on is the need to control. The entities here that control everything are even controlling your Starmers and your Kempy Badenochs and your whoever's. So we are going to be a bit battered and bruised. We are going to be all right, though. If you look at the wands on the Nine of Wands, there's new shoots on it. There's new growth here. You know, we might just, we're going to come out of it okay. You have to just trust and believe that this is part of what we're supposed to be learning in this lifetime. We've got to learn. We've got to learn when to accept things as they are. We've got to learn, and we've got to learn that life changes and we can't keep everything the same. We've also got to learn to stand up for ourselves when we have to as well. And stand up for ourselves and our kids. I'm about to lose my voice. And then we've got Justice in reverse and the Magician. Oh, hang on. Yeah, that's right. Justice, the Magician, and the Ace of Wands. New things are coming in. New things are coming in. New thoughts, new ideas, new inspiration. New, it feels like something creative, new adventures. There's new adventures to come out of this. You know, I remember as a kid sitting and listening to my dad, who were evacuated during the war. And he used to say, I mean, I can hear him now. I didn't see a banana till I was 8 years old, because of rationing and all that kind of thing. And I used to sit and listen to my dad and my gran and my grandpa, because they were in France. My grandmother was French. And they'd talk about the war, and I used to think it was so romantic and so exciting, and I wish I'd lived through that era. You know, no, I don't, actually. But as a kid, it just sounded so exciting and adventurous, and maybe this is just us having an adventure. It's just that it doesn't feel very pleasant. And it feels to me like these cards are saying it's the unfairness of it is going to make us spiritually wake up, learn to master the cups, our emotions, the wands, our willpower, our ego, the swords, our minds, and the pentacles, our security. Because things are unfair, because we've had it easy for decades, we've now got to learn to manifest. But more than that, we've got to learn to master our emotions, our willpower, our ego, our own security, and our own minds. And most of all, master our own minds. Watch what the incoming calls that are coming in. And if they're negative incoming calls, if they're fears and worries, turn it round. If you have to be angry first, but don't stick in fear. Because fear is when when you're in fear, that's when they've got you. Your immune system lowers. This is scientific fact. When you're in fear, your immune system lowers. You become ill. This is a new adventure. It's coming, but we're just going to go through some hard times. And this crime and sentencing bill, I think this is a bit of a catalyst to, it feels, this here feels very much like this is a catalyst. There's a lot of people out there that deny that two-tier justice exists. But when they see that written in black and white, that who's got to have a pre-sentencing report, when they see that the particular people that are named in that report that have to have these reports, even those who are asleep are going to start waking up. It feels like there's this huge it's a rumbling. This is a rumbling of, it feels like a crescendo, like this all of rumbling along, like an earthquake where you can feel or a thunder cloud. You can hear it rumbling before you can hear the crash. This is what this feels like, the rumbling of thunder. And then we've got the Six of Cups. And this is about reminiscing. This is about reminiscing, basically. It's about looking at our lives now and going, it was never like that when I was a kid. And I remember what it was like. And I remember when we used to do this, that, and the other. And our generation and older generations, I'm 58, and younger generations up to about, I don't know, from about 40, I would say. We remember what it's like to live in a society where we were free, where we could speak freely, where you didn't get you didn't feel like you got to hide yourself away. People were not cancelled in the 80s. We weren't cancelled. We had bugger all. I remember miners being on strike, and for so long, I remember all of it. And I remember none of us had any money. Nobody had any money. Didn't have 2 pennies to scratch our arses with. But we were inventive and we were happy and we made our own adventures. Sometimes a little bit of hardship brings you back to centre, because we have had it so easy. We really have, for so long. And it's only because we're in the shit now that we're looking back and saying, do you know what? Transport me back 40 years. I'll go back to 1983 any day a week. And in them days, we were worried that we were going to have a nuclear war with Iranian embassy siege and all that. We were told nuclear war were on its way. We were waiting for bombs coming. But it were a far better time. And then we've got the Empress again. She keeps showing up in different types of cars, but she keeps showing up. This is about the harvest. This is about abundance. It's about security. It's about growing new ideas. It's about being more adventurous. It's about learning. When you've got the Magician and the Empress, you've got, what can I say? This is basically telling me that we really, really, really now just need to sit back, see what's going on, know what's happening. No need to get angry, because there's going to be some chaos. There is going to be some rumblings. There's going to be some civil unrest. There really, really is. But we have to see this for what it is, because what's happening is they've become emboldened. And now they're writing this two-tier thing that they've denied all along. Now they're writing two-tier justice into law. And even Starmer can't deny that that's what's happened. The mainstream media will probably not say anything about it at all. But then slowly and surely it's going to get around that this is what's happening. That not only have we got diversity, equity and inclusion when we give people jobs now, we've got it in the justice system. Only if you're a particular minority, you don't get into prison. And if you're white British, you will do, or more likely to, because they won't be getting any pre-sentencing reports. So this is all very much like, let's go back to the old time. This is like revising. This is revising how we've got here. And becoming more resourceful. And then we've got the Ten of Cups. which is happily ever after. So basically, this crime and sentencing bill, the Labour Party, Shabana Mahmood, has dropped one massive bollock by doing this, by writing this in, because she's basically put it in writing. And in writing, it's unfair. We need to manage the suits, the wands, the pentacles, the cups, the swords. We need to start managing our own minds, start manifesting what we want. There's some disappointment here. There's going to be some scuffles, it's like rolling thunder, this. But through the rolling thunder, we will come out of it a little bit battered and bruised, but with an inspiration to go back to the way things were. Not necessarily, we're never going to go back to the way things were. Like, we can't just transport ourselves back to 1980 and think that's okay. But just to have the morals and the what's the word? The rules and the morals that we had in the 80s that we've kicked to the wayside because we had it so easy, we didn't need to have them. Now we've got to have them again. We're going to create abundance out of all of this. We are going to rebirth ourselves. We are going to reinvent ourselves and grow our nation anew and go back to being happy with our lot. This is about appreciation. We need to start appreciating the things we've got much, much, much more than we do. And we need to minimize in our minds all this bullshit, because all it is theatre. It's just designed to divide and conquer and control. So basically, this crime and sentencing bill is just another knock of another nail in another coffin of this particular era in the United Kingdom. But she's dropped a bollock. She's dropped a massive bollock, because people are going to catch on across the ocean. They really are. People are going to catch on across the ocean, and they're going to start showing this Labour government up for what they are. And I think what's going to happen next is that not just the USA, but I think Europe will start to isolate the UK. Because I think they realised that our leaders right now are beginning to be, or show themselves to be, far more tyrannical than the ones that they're denigrating right now. Anyway, that should be. I don't know whether I made any sense at all. I'm probably going to have a couple of days off because I actually do feel rough as fuck. So I'm going to have a couple of days off, and I'll speak to you all soon. Take care of yourselves. Ta-ra!